Hi, it's Jay from Iridescent Tarot, back with some more sparkle for you. Today I wanted to show you Verdance Tarot, and I thought it would be really interesting to compare it to Shadowscapes Tarot. So Verdance Tarot is Stephanie Pui-Mun Law's second full tarot deck that she's released. Her first deck was Shadowscapes Tarot, which I have owned and loved for many, many years. So when she announced that this deck was coming out, I was over the moon excited about it. I think it was announced early this year because I remember thinking, 8 months until I can get my hands on this deck. That's way too long. So it must have been sometime around the beginning of the year. And so I've just been looking at the different images she's been posting online and excitedly awaiting the arrival of this deck. For today's sparkles, what I have on my nails is Cracked Polish Swamp Stample, and it's kind of like this golden chestnut brown with green shimmers, and in certain angles it almost has like an orange shimmer. And for my perfume of the day, I have Bastet's Ice Cream Summer Fig Cream. The notes on this are fig, butter, caramel, French vanilla bean, vanilla milk, vanilla orchid, and Egyptian sugar. And I thought that this would be a good choice for today because this is one of the most green perfumes that I have. I tend towards more gourmandy, bakery, baked good, scented perfumes, and so the fig in this brings out some really green notes. When I first put this on, I get like a sharp fig. It almost gives like a cinnamon or spiced vibe, and then that kind of fades away and it like fades into a pretty summery fig vanilla, but it never really gets super creamy or like jammy. It just stays on the herbal side. But I thought that was good for this green Verdance Tarot. This deck comes in a lovely hard box, but it is quite large. The old Shadowscapes book is just about the same size, and I really don't love having boxes this big because they're just harder to store. So even though the production quality is lovely, I might end up making one of my bags, knit one of my bags for this deck. The book is like a hefty little guy. It's about the same thickness as the old one. It just feels more substantial. Before you get to any of the meanings, you have a really hefty introduction, getting started, meditation, symbols and keys, and then for the majors you have the full image, and then usually it's about 3 pages, and then for the minors you have the full image in about 1 page. I think that this book is fantastic. I already read the beginning and then quite a few number of different cards, and I'm very impressed. The deck comes with this stand, which I don't know that I would use this. Like I wish that the color matched like the whole verdant theme. Like this blue color isn't it for me, but you know, nice touch. And then there are 2 title cards, one of which I've already done a practice. You're not going to be able to see it, but I've done a practice edging, and I will probably be edging this as soon as possible. Right off the bat, size-wise, Verdance is just about the same size as Shadowscapes Tarot. The cardstock is notably different. The older Llewellyn cardstock has a little bit more of a like shine to it. It's not glossy, but it had a little bit more of that shine to it. And then the new cardstock is definitely more matte. When I first took this out of the box, I was like, oh boy, I don't think I'm gonna like this cardstock. But after shuffling it a few times, I kind of came around to it. And the artwork is so beautiful that any qualms I have with the cardstock, I'm just gonna let it go because it's worth it for Stephanie's art. One thing that I just quickly wanted to touch on is the color schemes. Just to give a quick rundown, these are the majors. So hard to compare colors in that. Stephanie definitely likes to use one specific color per suit, and she did that in both decks, and I really appreciated it. So I wanted to just show you, these are the cups. They're pretty much like a In person, it's more of like a teal blue in the Verdance Tarot, and in Shadowscapes, it's more of a purpley blue. For the swords, Verdance is extremely purple, and in Shadowscapes, it is purple as well. The Shadowscapes is more of like a grayish, like gray and purple, and Verdance is more purple. Verdance pentacles are very green. And Shadowscapes looks very similar in person. And then the wands are a little more orangey yellow. Pretty much for Verdance, they're like an orangey yellow that leans a little bit green towards the bottoms. And then in Shadowscapes, they're more of like a vibrant yellow. And just so that you can see on the cardstock thickness, the Verdance is quite a bit thicker than Shadowscapes. It's like about 13 cards thicker. Right off the bat, you can tell that Verdance is going to feature more animal motifs than people motifs. And while there are people in Verdance, they're just not as heavily focused on. So here we have the Fool, similar idea of like jumping off the precipice. They're facing different directions here. Having an owl in both looking up towards the sun. Interesting with the horns on both. I noticed that they had a red thread in both of these lovers cards. This is a very similar Chariot card. We have both of these, I don't know, what are unicorns with wings? Pegasi? So you have two of those pulling some sort of being. Here we have a woman, and here we have what looks to be almost like a phoenix. And they're both riding the wave. So these are very, very similar. We have our classic lion. Here we have the woman opening its mouth, and here we have some kind of bird of prey that's kind of like sitting atop. Here's one of the cards that I struggled with right out of the box with Verdance Tarot. So this snow leopard is approaching the reader, right? So it's looking at you, it looks like it's walking towards you, it's coming towards you, and that's not really the energy of the hermit that I kind of have in my mind. More so that it would be walking away to go to isolation, to spend time, to contemplate. And so I really, when I first looked at this card, I really didn't understand like the choice behind this card. Now, when I read the guidebook, it spoke of snow leopards being super in tune with their environment and knowing like every footstep in their environment like reverberates and comes through their whiskers, and like being one with nature. And ultimately, I was able to understand like why she chose a snow leopard for this card. I still didn't really understand like the composition of this card, and I think that could be born out of, okay, so in the foreword, which is by Benabel Wen, it says, Verdance was an evolution of an earlier series called The Undying Tales, which explored endangered species alongside the legends and folklore of their native regions. So I wonder if some of the cards, like this one specifically that I've noticed, comes off as more of a like curated art versus art that was created specifically for the tarot. But that's also probably me just being super nitpicky, but I did notice that with the Hermit. Like this one, you can tell very clearly that it was created to be justice. You've got the scales, you've got the, what is this, a crane? My animal recognition skills are very poor, I'll say that right off the bat. But this crane, or whatever it is, standing here balancing on the branch, holding the pearl of wisdom in its claw. Like you can tell that this card was made to be justice, whereas with that Hermit card, I don't feel like it was made to be the Hermit card. Another card that comes off as similar, but I really enjoy the difference between these two. You have Death and Shadowscapes, where this is the moment of the Phoenix being ignited, and here in the Verdance Tarot you have the moment after the ignition when it has burned out, and so the Phoenix is yet to rise again. So like to me, Shadowscapes is the maiden deck and Verdance is the mother deck, and I would love for Stephanie to now create a crone deck. And so with the Death you have the flame, the burnout, and then, you know, in the crone deck you would have the born again rising. Not that I'm trying to create more work for her, but this is what I would love to see in my own little mind. For some reason, this grasshopper reminds me of in Fantastic Menagerie, of just like animals or bugs playing instruments and things like that. I don't know, it just reminds me of that. But sometimes I just feel like the Shadowscapes, you can look at the image and immediately like relate it to the RWS meaning quicker than when you look at some of the images from Verdance. And I'm not sure if that's just a like result of me having worked with Shadowscapes for so many years and knowing these images inside and out, and maybe that's something that's going to come once I work with Verdance and like read through the guidebook and do a deck study. But for me, off the bat, like intuitive hits, like I just see more and understand more in Shadowscapes, but I want to put in the effort and work to get there with like that. I want to get there in that way with Verdance. I love this star card. I think this is so beautiful, lifting up the veil to see what's beyond and show you that there's hope beyond whatever it is that you're looking at, this current situation. This is my #1 most favorite card in this deck, and I already have special meaning. If you check out the Two of Moms Tarot episode 2, where I talk about having an encounter with a hummingbird and then later seeing the image of this sun card, you'll understand why. Okay, we're into the cups. There are a lot of repeating animal motifs, so a lot of dragonflies in the cups cards. And here you can see an example of like you have the animals doing the thing of the card versus more of humanoid figures doing the thing of the card. And then you do have a couple people in and out of the different cards. Mostly they're in the courts, but sometimes you'll have a figure in the minors. So I don't love either one of these cards. I don't think either of them speaks to my immediate understanding of the Seven of Cups, so I would have to look into the guidebook for Verdance to understand what's happening here. And also, like, I kind of wish that it stuck one way or the other to all animals, all people, or all animals in the minors with people only in the courts. Just having like the random faces occasionally or people occasionally throws me out of the world just a tiny bit, but it's nothing that it's nothing that I can't get over. Just looking at these cards, you have like the more melancholy, going on your own solo, walking away imagery here, and then Eight of Cups in Verdance. Like, it doesn't give me that same kind of vibe. I love this card. I read the guidebook for this card, and I think that it's so beautiful, and you've got like the same idea of like people intertwined with their hands, and I think you can really see the evolution in her artwork in cards like this, where in the Shadowscapes you have the figures more isolated and like standing out, and here in Verdance they kind of blend into the natural environment. Our knights are all riding different mythical creatures. The sword suit in both decks heavily features swans. It's almost like this one is kind of like a zoomed in version of this one here, except you have more animal. I do really enjoy the more soft, ethereal version of Stephanie's artwork in Verdance. Like, here you can see it's a little bit more fantasy, a little bit sharper, a little bit harsher, and here we have a little bit like softer of a gradient. I really enjoy the progression of her art style, and I think I like it better in Verdance. I much prefer the Eight of Swords in this deck. You can like put yourself into the swan situation, being tangled in the brambles, and you have the hummingbird up here. And here, I just don't get that same feeling of like, I can't put myself into this figure as much. This one, I can. You can see that she's like barely treading water. This Ten of Swords I like a little bit better than this Ten of Swords. You have the fish that's like going for this jeweled heart, and then knowing that as soon as it goes for it, then all of these swans are going to attack the fish. I think that that's a very clever way to depict the Ten of Swords, where this one works as well, but I think I just enjoy this image a little bit more. I really enjoy the bee motif that comes through a lot in the coin suit. I think that here the Three of Coins is better depicted by the bees here than the Three of Pentacles in Shadowscapes. I love both of these depictions. I think that sometimes when you strike gold with a way that you're going to show the meaning of a card, which for the Four of Pentacles here, you have the dragon protecting its hoard. She couldn't have improved upon the Shadowscapes depiction, so she just like remade it in her newer, updated art style, and I love both of them. It's funny, when I first looked at this card, I thought the bee looked like it was kind of having to choose between different things in each of these bubbles, and that was giving me a very Seven of Cups vibe. And so this is one that I want to read the guidebook on. This card is the whole reason why I wanted to do a comparison in the first place, because I always really loved this Eight of Pentacles card, and Stephanie had mentioned that she was going to keep a couple of the cards very similar, and this was one of them. Why mess with perfection, I guess. I definitely agree with her. And see, like, the face here kind of pulls me out of it. I particularly loved this Ace of Wands, where you can see the acorn down below and how it grew into this giant oak tree, and how planting the seed can kind of grow into something massive. This bear is so cute. I really liked the Five of Wands here. You have these animals that are kind of fighting over the acorn, and then you have like the little mouse or rat down here that's like hanging on to the squirrel's tail, and they're all just kind of like bickering. And I really liked that. And I enjoyed that there's no human in this card. I thought it was interesting how the Seven of Wands here, you're fighting off more of a shadow creature than an actual creature. Nine of Wands guidebook description was beautiful. It's a long one, but I think it's worth reading. The Perseverant. Resilience, overcoming challenges, battle-weary, willpower, soldiering onward. Resilience is the key in the Nine of Wands. The challenges life throws your way are not over yet, but you've weathered much of it and are battle-weary. It's a struggle to maintain balance in the face of those trials and in knowing that there's more to come, but with willpower it is possible to soldier onward. The end is in sight. It beckons and hints of the rewards to be gained. You've come this far already. Just find the strength to continue a little bit further. And then the story. There's a gate high atop a cinnabar hill. 1,000 steps lead to this threshold. There's a crack in the earth there, from which springs a fountain. One sip from these waters purifies the mind. A second sip grants the ability to hear the wild songs and feel the flames in one's heart. A third sip unleashes those inner embers. No one ever speaks of what follows. The waters are clear and sweet, and it's the taste of forgotten memories, unknown desires, impossible hopes, and the fire of indomitable will. The liquid spills in a runway down the steps, turning them each into treacherous miniature waterfalls. As those waterfalls tumble along the steps, they churn. As they slice down the ridges, they froth. As they rage into distant canyons, they roil and surge. As they slice through the treacherous gorges, they tear bridges asunder. They ebb and flow. At last, they curl around to embrace the shore and become a quiet river. In lands where that river flows through, it is said, swim upstream, climb the 1,000 steps, and pass that final gate, and all that you desire will be yours. Small beings make that journey, and on the other side of the gate, their hearts flame bright and they become dragons. This is one where I think that they're equally easy to interpret. You have the turtle with everything on its back, and you have the woman here with everything on her back. So my Shadowscapes I have already edged in this like silver color that matches the backs, and these are the glitter paint markers that I've been using to edge some of my decks. I mark the ones that are kicked, and so luckily the color that I think matches the best has not been used up too heavily, so I'm going to edge it with this color. So it shuffles easily. It's just, it feels like a little, I don't know, maybe it just needs to be broken in a little bit. Yeah, it feels pretty good. And then just to compare the backs, I feel like the backs on the Shadowscape is more indicative of Stephanie's artwork, where the backs on Verdance feel like somebody else made them. Like, this is not Stephanie's delicate art style. I think that the color is a perfect color because it's slightly darker than all the colors that are used in the deck, so it makes it easy to tell what's the front and the back. But the artwork on it just doesn't scream Stephanie to me. I don't know. Overall, I think that this deck is an absolutely beautiful work of art, and I'm super excited to read through the entire guidebook and put effort into understanding the myths and stories that she's woven through all these, 78 miniature beautiful paintings that you can hold like an artwork gallery in your pocket. I think she's so utterly talented. It's mind-boggling, and I really enjoy her write-ups in the guidebook. I think she put a lot of thought into every single card that she describes, and I think that the extras that you get in the guidebook with the meditations and the breakdown of the symbols is extremely helpful. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about this deck, and I'm super excited to be working with her. Let me know if you'd like to see the deck once I've edged it and see how that comes out. And one thing that would be super helpful is if you enjoyed this video to please like and subscribe. It's funny, my husband has watched a couple of the videos and he's like, how come you don't say smash that like and subscribe button? And I'm like, if people like my videos, they're just gonna naturally do that. So it would be really helpful to me to know what videos that you are enjoying if you did like and subscribe. So I will talk to you later. Signing out. For my completionists, I just wanted to match it up with Tree Keeper's Oracle, which is also features artwork by Stephanie. Beautiful as expected. The artwork on Tree Keepers kind of rides the line between the artwork in Shadowscapes and in Verdance. It's like the in-between of her art styles. Has a little bit of the darker, grungier, more fantasy style. Beautiful. I also wanted to mention the titles on Verdance. It's really hard to see, but the actual font looks like it's made of slightly metallic, in the same way that the borders on Shadowscapes are. It's like not quite metallic, but a little bit. You can really only notice it when you tilt it in the light exactly correctly, and even then I'm not 100% sure that it's there. I think that it might be just a very tiny bit metallic. Hard to see. Okay, that's all for now. Talk to you later. Signing out. Edited to add. See how these backs are just so much more Stephanie than the Verdance backs? And also, this gilding would have been beautiful on Verdance. I will always prefer that my cards have gilded edging like this in every single circumstance. So, I still love it. Okay, bye for real.